you say a POC room. What is that room? What does that mean? And what's stored there? And what happens in rooms like that?
Yeah, so in every abortion facility, their surgical abortion facility, there is a room called the POC room. POC stands for products of conception, and that's the baby. And so there's a room that is usually attached to one or both of the rooms where they are performing surgical abortions. And there's usually a little pass through, a little turnstile in the wall. And so what they do in that room is after the abortion is completed, they will put the glass jar that contains the baby into one of those pass, turn it around, and then it goes into the lab. And the person in that lab, the POC lab technician, will take everything that's in those glass jars, and first they put it through a colander, like a strainer, and they take the little sprayer hose from a sink and they spray everything down and get all the blood and everything off, and then they put everything that's remaining that's still in the colander, they dump it into a Pyrex baking dish, a clear Pyrex baking dish. And they put a little bit of water in that baking dish so that all the parts will float. And that's called floating, the POC. And that's when they look for all the parts that were removed from the uterus. And they want to make sure that everything was recovered, because if you left anything in the woman's uterus, that could be potentially fatal for her. Mm-hmm. That could cause sepsis. And so at the end of the day, then they'll take all those parts and they'll put them in little, sort of like little petri dishes all along the back. So at the end of the day, of an abortion clinic day, if you walked into one of those rooms, you might see, I don't know, 30 to 60 of those little dishes just full of human remains on a counter. And at the end of the day, the doctor is supposed to go in and account for all those parts and sign off on a form. And then after everything is accounted for, all of those body parts go into a red biohazard bag. And that bag goes to, in most situations, that bag goes to a biohazard medical waste company. We have heard of other situations where some clinics are taking those body parts and they're just putting them down a garbage disposal.
Disgusting.
We've heard of clinics taking them, putting them into an incinerator toilet. So there's different ways that they're disposing of them.
It's disgusting. I genuinely can't imagine. I cannot imagine how you form that disconnect at that level. I do understand how people can form the disconnect if they don't see any of that. But once you see it, I personally, I cannot wrap my head around it, because they look like little baby parts oftentimes. They're very identifiable, and it's jarring emotionally, at least for me. So that was a part of the story that I had trouble with you a little bit. I was like, how does she not see what she sees? And I guess we all have our own journey in that, in terms of what we detach from, and, everyone's different. And I try not to judge how everybody gets to a place, hopefully the right place somehow, and we all do it differently. So it's not judgmental. It's just more trying to understand, and imagining myself in that room, which I would have just probably been that person that ran out crying and they said, forget it, she's not it. Don't promote her. If you like the short clip and want to watch another short clip, click here. Or if you want to watch the full episode, click right here.